Hey y'all, my name is Miyani, the artsy fairy, jack of all trades, master of self. Welcome to Chai Chats, my corner of the internet, where we explore life, expand our minds, and express ourselves authentically over herbal medicine. So today I have some orange tea. It's like orange spice tea, which is so funny because literally I was just talking about how like orange tea is one of the only like citrusy teas that I really fuck with like that. And so the fact that I have that today is just so funny. It was not, that wasn't on purpose, but it was divinely planned. You feel me? So orange tea is great for you, as many teas are. It has rose in it as well as hibiscus, and that's all I remember. And orange peel specifically is great for you. It's great for you. It's great for your immune system, and it has 3 times more vitamin C than the actual orange itself. And it's also an anti inflammatory and it aids in weight loss. So, lots of beautiful benefits to orange peel. This tea has a tea bag with it. Hold up. This tea is a tea bag, but if you actually boil orange peels and you can make your own orange peel tea from scratch, it will make your house smell great. I had a friend who used to do that. Her house smelled so good. So, this is episode 2 of Chai Chats, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Last time, I was kind of just like going off the dome, saying anything that came to mind, which I had an agenda, but this time around, I'm actually like writing and reading from a script. Of course, I wrote it. It started as a flow of consciousness that just came to me one night. And over the next, like, I want to say 2 weeks, I just refined it some more to make it a full episode. Today's episode is called The Path of Pleasure. I sit at a crossroads, paralyzed by the fear of picking the wrong path. I have 3 options, or at least those are what I'd like to take into consideration. I'm attached to path 1, planted seeds for future me, although fruits to bear are little to none. I've grown to desire what could become. Path 2 is honestly ideal. I've been here before, a cycle repeated, but this time interferences have been depleted, and I am anew, and so are the circumstances, maybe so is the outcome. Path 3 is simply not for me, but always there if need be, always there if I'd like to slow down and savor simplicity in a small town. I worry and fear that I would choose the wrong path and be left loathing and regret and shame. I worry and fear that I must make a choice before it's too late, that I'll miss every train and be stuck walking the whole way. Teary eyed and shallow breath, I ask to myself, who is rushing you but you? Who is rushing you but you? A wave of contentment washes over me like sandy beach, an aha moment. The answer is no one. If someone was rushing me, well, then they themselves are probably always racing against a clock that never changes pace, no matter how fast or how slow someone moves. I watched The Pursuit of Happiness last week, and one of the biggest things that stood out to me was how in a rush the main character always was, how much stress he accumulated by always being consumed in the feeling of being behind. Based on a true story, Will Smith plays Chris Gardner, a 30-some-year-old man with a kid in a collapsing relationship. They're months behind on rent, and he's having a hard time making ends meet as a salesman. He joins a 6-month unpaid internship to hopefully become one out of a 30 something collective to be chosen for an entry level stockbroker position. Mind you, he's the only one. Like, there's only one position. Throughout the movie, we watch him lose his car, break up with his baby mama, become houseless, and work himself to the core day in and day out in hopes of finally catching up. While watching, one of the only comments I made was that I'd rather take my time than rush and end up creating accidents that become more costly in the end because that's exactly what he was doing all throughout the movie. Constantly rushing and something slips his mind, creating this domino effect. It always happened in the midst of him trying to do the exact opposite, which is funny because it felt very similar to the state of being that I was holding myself in. It made me ponder on how we, the common American people, find ourselves in these continuous modes of go, act, produce. In the end of the movie, Chris lands the job, thankfully. And in the true story, he eventually becomes like a millionaire or something. But I question the true worth of it all, which is subjective, of course. But I think about all 29 other people who didn't make it. They just spent hours on end, damn near daily, for 6 months, quite literally slaving for an entry level job, and they don't even get a participation award. Over the last year, especially, I've been thinking a lot about how my standards have been shaped by exploitative white men, specifically in regards to my perception of success and the process of how I attain or achieve that. This is the practice of decolonizing the mind, which creates true sovereignty. When I evolve my expectations, I shift from wanting as much as possible to wanting to have fun. I shift from wanting to cultivate all of these tangible results to wanting to do a deep dive into a sense of genuine fulfillment. Greed does not inspire me. Man made deadlines do not scare me. I was just told that it should. I imagine myself achieving success in a way that feels good in my mind, body, and soul. Success wants that for me too. It's attraction, it's magnetism, a hug. Rushing just feels like tug of war, which is why I cannot embody success when I rush. This leads me to think about sex. Finances and sex are both inherently tied to a sense of pleasure. They come from the same energy centers, your root and sacral chakras. And a YouTuber I love, Your Spiritual Mermaid, talks about this a ton. She talks about how money, love, and pleasure are all interconnected. In my point of view, during sex, there should not be this mental or emotional pressure to hit a climax or this rush to reach that fleeting peak state of bliss. There are so many more parts of the process, like foreplay, edging, talking through it, switching positions, receiving and giving, kink play, aftercare, all the things that make it so much sweeter. It's about being able to appreciate and honor the whole experience, even when you're not at that peak. It doesn't negate that it can still be blissful. And it takes less pressure off of you and those in tandem to even climax because you're having a great time regardless. You also develop a knowingness that the climax is so much more intense when you're really just in the moment and allow it to sneak up on you. Your spiritual mermaid especially uses the word erotic, a word that has been popping up for me a lot lately. Erotic stems back to root words eran, ermai, estai, meaning to desire. I talk a lot about the art of yearning, being able to appreciate the state of separation from something you want, the ability to feel into the want and bask in the thought of. That's easy for me to do in romantic relationships as I've ingrained it in me a long time ago that love will always return in many forms. I have not yet been able to maintain that same understanding pertaining to money, that it will always return in many forms. It's not necessarily that I believe that I'm unworthy because, baby, I believe quite the opposite actually. but it's about the embodiment and exuding that worthiness, feeling the worthiness, not being surprised when I receive what feels like proper compensation or feeling like that was too easy. When I literally say I have made the most money doing the fucking least. But it's the fact that I face so many obstacles that these moments often seem too good to be true or impossible to consistently achieve. And I've watched so many others around me face tragedy around money that it can often feel hard to escape. But I know in my mind that's not true. I'm just working on allowing my heart to accept that too. I've worked through many of my love blockages very early on, and right now I'm working through these financial blockages. And although they overlap, they are still their own entities and energies. I feel that it's a bit easier to energetically connect with another person than it is for me to energetically connect with an inanimate object. It makes me think back to a concept that I learned from an artist, P. the Fairy, or should I say, Master of Energetics, as she calls herself. Putting this in my own words, it's much harder to energetically align with your desires when you are in a space of opposition to them. It can feel like a desperate grasp. It's much easier to energetically align with your desires when you are in a space of neutrality. It becomes foreplay. It's easing into the pleasure of instead of pushing further into the lack of. Most of the time, when I think about money, I feel my body physically rejecting the universe trying to turn me on. Like, I'll start getting sick to my stomach or literally crying. I lean into the lack, not only because it often feels closer and familiar, but because I'm usually trying to convince myself that I can make millions in the middle of crying about being behind on bills. Like, hell yeah, I can, but girl, read the room. Instead of trying to jump from one end of the spectrum to the other, I'm working on manifesting from the middle ground, that neutral space, like right before I start creating content or even while I'm brushing my teeth or clearing my space. I found that it is some of the best time to allow money's sensual nature to amplify within me, and then I lean to it when it feels stronger and closer. Lack and obstacles is what my eyes have seen, but prosperity is what my spirit sees. It's the trust fall into the unknown, the ability to trust the universe with my mind, body, and spirit to please me in pure vulnerability. Prosperity and success still have challenges, but a strong sense of trust supports a perspective that sees through the process. It allows for smoother pivots and boundless expression. If you rush the building and strengthening of trust within a partnership, it becomes built on illusions and assumptions. That's why it's important to move at a comfortable pace so there's less overwhelm, less pressure to reach a climax, less room for preventable accidents, creating more space to just breathe into it, finding flow, synchronization, and pleasure. You find more time to talk and laugh in unison and honor the equal vision of a gaze and savor a smile. That's when a bottom lip kiss becomes a teacup sip. And there's more room for happy accidents and beautiful messes because they were made as a result of enjoying the moment. They become the memories we frame with pride. It's time to let money turn you on and take you to new heights. Get acquainted with her traits. Become familiar with what it looks like to be in reciprocity with her. We're not chasing a bag. We're setting up a date and getting to know her the right way. Moving at a comfortable pace, learning what it takes for both of us to cultivate a healthy relationship. Eventually, sitting at this crossroads shifts from paralyzation into patience. It's now the process of imagining which journey feels most joyous, feels most fulfilling. It's not about right or wrong or missing the train, because what if I'm actually meant to have a private plane? And what if I'm supposed to walk? I'm sure I'll meet the most amazing people ready to offer me pleasant surprises along the way. And I'll get to experience the landscape with all my senses, not just my eyes. Trust in the universe is to know that regardless of what I do or where I go, as long as I intentionally move towards my desires at a pace that feels good, prosperity, fulfillment, and pleasure is always available to me. Therefore, I am always successful. I'm so proud of myself for writing that. So, y'all, that is the path of pleasure. Leave me some comments below with your thoughts. Let me know if there's any point in this conversation that you would like me to expand on. There's definitely some pieces that I want to expand on in the future, but I'm really working on moving on expired. Not expired, child, definitely not expired. Right now, I'm working on moving on inspired action. So, me being the person that I am, my inspiration, like it it pops around, it hops around, it jumps. It's a traveler, it's a nomad, okay? So, my posts are going to be very similar and we're just going to roll with it, but I will definitely be back on this topic, okay? Let me know what y'all was sipping on. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your motherfucking life. Sorry. Bye.